Imagine a place where temperatures can drop to nearly minus 130 degrees Fahrenheit and the sun doesn't rise for months. Officially, it's a massive nature reserve and bastion of global science. But what if it's the greatest cover story of the 20th century? What if something beneath miles of ice forced sworn enemies in the midst of the Cold War to sign an unprecedented treaty? Why did the world's most powerful nations essentially turn an entire continent into a strict quarantine zone? Today, you'll learn why Nazi Germany searched for unfrozen oases among eternal frost, and what really made an American military armada flee Antarctica in panic in '47. We'll examine what unexplained signals are coming from the Earth's crust right now, and why attempting to drill into an ancient lake might cost humanity too dearly. It all started not on snow, but in space, in orbit at an altitude of 250 miles. In 2006, two NASA satellites from the GRACE mission, nicknamed Tom and Jerry, were doing something unusual, weighing the Earth. The craft flew one after another, measuring distance to within a micrometer. And when they flew over East Antarctica, in the Wilkes Land region, instruments showed an anomaly. Gravity here changed sharply. The satellites detected beneath the ice a colossal mascon, a concentration of mass with incredible density. Imagine that under your blanket someone hid a 40-pound weight. That's how it looks to gravitational scanners. The zone's dimensions are shocking, a diameter of about 185 miles. In the absolute icy wasteland lies something pulling everything around it more strongly than normal crust. Scientists rechecked the data but ruled out error. Beneath miles of frozen water hides a gigantic, dense body that simply doesn't belong there. What could be so heavy and enormous? The main theory states it's a giant crater from an asteroid. By calculations, the celestial body that struck here was many times larger than what killed the dinosaurs. Dating of the impact, 250 million years ago. That's when Earth experienced the Great Dying, when 96% of marine life disappeared. Sounds logical. The planet's killer has been found. But there's a detail that haunts researchers. Inside this huge anomaly, instruments see an even denser core. And some experts ask, what if this isn't just impact compressed rock? What if beneath the ice the object itself still lies? Metallic, monolithic, having survived a 250 million years. No one dares to drill in the center of Wilkes Land, officially too technically difficult. But perhaps they're simply afraid to wake what sleeps in this crater? Let's return to '38. Just before the war, Nazi Germany unexpectedly sends an expedition to the edge of the world. The ship Schwabenland is a floating base from whose deck seaplanes launch, commanded by Captain Alfred Richter. Why did the Third Reich, obsessed with mysticism, need a chunk of ice? Official goal, searching for whale oil for margarine and explosives. But the operation's scale suggests otherwise. Luftwaffe pilots make about 15 flights, photographing vast territories. They drop thousands of swastika pennants, claiming an area as New Swabia. And they find the Schirmacher Oasis, a unique zone where rocks are free of snow and freshwater lakes don't freeze even in winter. It looked like the perfect refuge. After this discovery, rumors spread about construction of secret Base 211. No documents exist, but German interest in this warm pocket was frighteningly persistent. The Nazi mystery continues after Berlin's fall. Imagine, the war is over. Germany capitulated in May '45. But 2 months later, in summer, two German submarines surface in an Argentine port, U-530 and U-977. These are new generation subs, capable of long underwater stays. Their crews surrender but behave strangely. Logbooks destroyed, testimonies confused. Where were they for nearly 3 months after the war's end? The popular version claims they performed a final voyage to Antarctica, transporting something valuable or someone important to New Swabia. No evidence of unloading exists, but the U.S. reaction was hysterical. Command clearly suspected someone remained at the South Pole. In '46, legendary polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd leads an armada called Operation High Jump. The scientific expedition's composition: aircraft carrier, support ships, submarine, and 4,700 Marines. Officially, training personnel in polar conditions. Seriously? Nearly 5,000 military personnel with equipment for training? The mission was planned for 6 to 8 months but ended after 8 weeks in hasty retreat. The fleet returned having lost several aircraft and 4 men in accidents. But strangest of all, Byrd's own words. In an interview with a Chilean newspaper, he stated, "The USA must adopt measures of protection against the possibility of invasion by hostile aircraft coming from the polar regions." He warned of flying objects capable of moving from pole to pole at incredible speed. Who was he talking about if no one was there? Reports were immediately classified, but the fleet's panicked flight was impossible to hide. After Byrd's return comes silence, and then in '59, a diplomatic miracle occurs. In the height of the Cold War, when the USA and USSR are ready to destroy each other, they sit down at the table and sign the Antarctic Treaty. Nations agree that an entire continent is now a demilitarized zone. No military bases, no nuclear testing, and a freeze on all territorial claims. The treaty contains a provision for inspection rights. Observers can at any moment check any station. This looks not like trust, but like a mutual surveillance system, as if warring parties found something dangerous on neutral territory and agreed together to guard the perimeter. The document remains in effect to this day, effectively closing free access to the continent's interior. Beneath Russia's Vostok station, under about 2.5 miles of ice, hides the lake of the same name. It's been isolated from the atmosphere for at least 15 million years. The water there exists under enormous pressure and is supersaturated with oxygen. It's the perfect time capsule. When in 2012 Russian drillers finally broke through to the lake, water under pressure shot upward, freezing into a plug. This saved the lake from contamination. But what rose from below? Analysis of samples showed DNA from bacteria, many unknown to science. Genetic sequences that evolved in complete isolation for millions of years. This discovery caused both excitement and fear. If ancient bacteria survived there, there could be ancient viruses for which we have no immunity. Perhaps the ice shell isn't just a lid but a cork holding back a biological threat. The most inexplicable is happening now. The ANITA project is a scientific balloon with antennas floating in the stratosphere over Antarctica. Its task, catching neutrinos, particles from deep space. By the laws of physics, they should fall to Earth from above. However, in 2016 and 18, detectors registered impossible events. Powerful particle streams hit the antennas from below. They emerged straight from the ice. The standard model of physics struggles to explain this. Earth should block such particles. This spawned hypotheses about new physics or about a radiation source inside the continent. Someone or something beneath miles of ice is generating powerful energy pulses, that same mascon in Wilkes Land, or natural processes we don't yet understand. Scientists argue, but the fact remains, Antarctica is radiating, and we don't know why. We're used to thinking the world map has been studied inside and out, but Antarctica remains a blank spot surrounded by red flags of prohibition, strange expeditions, hasty treaties, and anomalies that instruments detect. All of this adds up to a disturbing picture. Perhaps this continent is closed not to preserve its nature, but to preserve us from what's hidden there. Until next time.